All right, 11.4 tells us how to find x-intercepts when it's not factorable. So how do you solve when the tic-tac-toe doesn't work? Well, we use what's called the quadratic formula. It looks much more complicated than it is, but here it is. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. You just use the a, b, and c from the problem. So here, a is 2, b is negative 3, c is negative 1. So wherever we see a b, we put negative 3. Wherever we see an a, we put 2. Wherever we see a c, we put negative 1. So opposite of b, plus or minus, square root, b squared, don't forget your parentheses, minus 4, it's always 4, a, c. All over 2a. So the b's, I put 3's. The a's, I put 2's. And the c, I put negative 1. Now we're just going to put that right in the calculator. So if I type that top part, 3 plus square root, parentheses, negative 3 squared minus 4, parentheses, parentheses. So with the plus, I get 7.123. And if I do it again with the minus, there we go, 4ac, I get negative 1.123. That's the top. Now the bottom is 2 times 2, so we have to divide both of those by 4. 7.123 divided by 4 is 1.78. And negative 1.123 divided by 4 is negative 0.28. So if we don't care about exact, we just type it in just like that. If we do care about exact, we would just do the inside part first. So negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. And then negative 4 times 2 is negative 8, times negative 1 is positive 8. Then 2 times 2 is 4. Add the 9 and 8 together and we get 17. That is our exact answer. We would get the same thing whether we did the exact or if we and then turned it into this. So let's see, 3 plus root 17 still gives us 7.123. So here are 2 more. Try them if you want or watch me. It's up to you. All right, this one. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Well, 20 squared is 400. 4 times 25 times 4 is 400. 2 times 25 is 50. 400 minus 400 is 0. Square root of 0 is 0. So we're left with negative 20 over 50, which gives us negative 2 over 5. If you had typed it straight in there, you would have gotten negative 0.4. This one only has one solution. We talked about how that was okay. That's because of the 0 in here. If you end up with a 0, your solution's going to be 0. Or you're only going to have one solution. All right, last one. If there's nothing there, it's a 1. So the opposite of b, plus or minus, b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 times 5 times 3 is negative 60. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 minus 60 is negative 59. So now that we have this negative here, we know we're not going to get a real solution. Can't take the square root of a negative and get a real solution. So if we're dealing with real life or x-intercepts, there's none. If we're just trying to find all solutions, we need to keep going. 59 is prime, so that negative is going to give us the I. Then we have our number here. If we want it in A plus BI form, we would just break it into those two pieces over 10. So if we're looking for real solutions, we can stop. If not, we have to keep going to get the complex. All right, let's do this. If a car's headlights do not illuminate the road beyond 500 feet, estimate a safe nighttime speed limit with this using this equation. So we're just trying to solve this equation. So first, when we're solving, we need to get the 500 on the other side so that it equals 0. And there's no like terms, so we have 1/9 x squared plus 11/3 x minus 500 equals 0. Method 1 is to just do it as is with our fractions. Opposite of b, plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If I'm looking for an exact answer, I can also just type that radical part. So parentheses, 11 over 3 squared minus 4 times a times c gives me 235.7. So this one's not going to be exact no matter what we do. So square root of 235.67. And then 2 times 1/9 is 2/9. Keep going here. We already know we're not going to be exact, so I'm just going to go with it. Negative 11/3 plus square root of 235.67 gives me 11.68 divided by 2/9 gives me 52.6. Negative 11/3 minus square root of 235.67 divided by 2/9 gives me negative 85.6. We can't have a negative speed limit, so this would be our solution, 52.6. If it's telling us to round to the nearest, because it's a speed limit, that would make sense. You'd be doing 53 miles per hour. Depending on when you rounded, this might be different. If you didn't round till the end, you might get 53.3. If you did something different, in the end, though, your final answer should be the same. Method 2 is to get rid of the fractions, because people don't like fractions. So if we have 1/9 x squared plus 11/3 x minus 500 equals 0, if we multiply everything by the greatest denominator, we get 9. 9 times 1/9 is 1. 9 times 11 is 99. Divided by 3 is 33. And 9 times 500 is 4,500. Then we do the quadratic formula with these. Opposite of b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If I typed that right directly into the calculator, negative 33 plus second square root 33 squared minus 4ac, we get 105 divided by 2, same answer, 53 miles per hour. So it doesn't matter if you do the fractions or the whole numbers. It's whatever works for you and your preferences. All right, the discriminant. The discriminant is what's under the radical. It's b squared minus 4ac. If you do that first, you will know how many solutions you're going to get. If you do that and you get a positive number, you're going to get two real solutions. So that's like this first one here where we got two real numbers. That's one real number. That's another real number. If it equals 0, you're going to get one real solution. That's this middle one. We had the 0 there, one solution. If it's negative, we're still going to get two solutions, but this time they're complex instead of real. Here we had the i's. It's a shortcut so you kind of know what you're getting into. So use the determinant to find the number of solutions. So we're going to start by plugging this in. B squared minus 4ac. So b squared minus 4a. Oh, hold on. We need to get it so it equals 0. 4x squared minus 20x plus 25 equals 0. Now we can do the discriminant. So b squared minus 4ac is 400 minus 400. So the determinant is 0. So we're just going to have one real solution. That's how you can use that to make your life easier or answer questions if it's saying how many solutions. All right, let's look at this one. Up or down? Well, A is negative, so that tells us down. Vertex is HK, so we go back to the negative B over 2A. So negative 1 over 2 times negative 1/2 ends up being 1. And then we plug that in for K. So negative 1/2 times 1 squared plus 1 plus 3 over 2 gives us 2. So our vertex is 1, 2. How many x-intercepts? That's where we do that discriminant. B squared minus 4ac. If I do that, I get 2 times 3 over 2, 1 minus 3, 1 plus 3 is 4. That's a positive number. So we're going to have two real solutions or two x-intercepts. And then find the y-intercept. Y-intercept is when you plug 0 in. So it's always just that last number, 3 over 2. Then find the x-intercepts. So now we're going to solve. Now we're going to do the quadratic formula. But I'm going to show you a trick. So negative b plus or minus. We already did this. We already did the b squared minus 4ac up here when we did the discriminant. So we don't have to do that again. And then over 2a. Well, the square root of 4 is 2. 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. So negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Divided by negative 1 is 1. And then negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Divided by negative 1 is 3. So those are our x-intercepts. Wide or narrow? Well, that's a fraction, so it's going to be wide. The axis of symmetry is x equals h, which we said over here was 1. So x equals 1. Now let's graph what we found. So we said the vertex was 1, 2. There's our vertex. We said the x-intercepts were 1 and 3. Well, that doesn't work. Negative 1 and 3. That's one thing. We know if they line up, it's not working. So graphing is also a good way to check. We said our y-intercept was 3 over 2, which is 1.5. So it'd be like here. And now we can graph. So sketching it, you just put the points that you found. That's all we're asking. So now solve these. If you're not going to get real solutions, you're going to get the i's. So make sure you find all solutions. Subtract 4 from both sides. X squared equals negative 4. Square root of a negative we can't do, but the negative becomes I. The square root of 4 is 2. And don't forget, when we take a square root, we have a positive and a negative. Same thing over here. Subtract 5 from both sides. Take the square root, so positive or negative, square root negative 5i. All that negative is going to do is bring this an I out, leave it exact unless it tells us not to. All right, here we have an ABC. If I try to tic-tac-toe, it doesn't work. If I do the discriminant, I get a negative. So negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 times 2 is 8. Times 3 is 24. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 minus 24 is negative 23. And that doesn't break down, so we're just going to pull the I out. Leave it as 23 over 4. There's the plus and the minus are our two answers. So let's do the same thing over here. First, we need to make it equal 0. So we have 3/4 x squared minus x plus 1 equals 0. Opposite of b, plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative 1 squared is 1. Negative 4 times 3/4 is negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. 2 times 3/4 is 6 over 4, which is 3 over 2, which is 1.5. Well, yeah. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. That doesn't break down anymore. So we're going to have an I with a 2 there. 1.5. I would accept this. Technically, you shouldn't have a decimal in a fraction. So if you multiply everything by 2, we would end up 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times I is 2I. And 2 times 1.5 is 3. Now, this is the actual correct form. That is 11.4. Let me know if you have any questions.